So what we're going to talk about in this video, with the assistance and help of this beautiful pine that is behind me, and the sisters that are standing in the back, and this entire forest at large, is why trees mean so much. When you think about the fact that people can dedicate their entire lives to being herbalists, understanding the practices and protocols and magical relationship with herbs of all kinds, you then think about how trees are sometimes included in that and sometimes not. Mushrooms are more easily included even though they're not plants. And in this way you begin to know something new about how we as people currently in the mainstream societies understand these beautiful beings. If I was to dedicate my life to trees, the preservation of them, the knowledge of them, I might work for the Forest Service, I might become an arborist, I might be someone who goes and fells trees, I might be someone who works at a sawmill and is a sawyer, I might be a woodworker, I might dedicate my life to preserving open natural landscapes. Speaking of that, I could even be a landscaper. You begin to see how many ways you can touch the magic of trees. And so for the purpose of this video, I'm going to share with you a little bit about my journey with trees and what that impact has meant for me. So, if you have been part of this channel since the beginning, you will know that runes were the focus from the very beginning. Over time, as I was moving through different things in my personal journey, as I was healing and reconnecting some of my ancestral links, native indigenous flutes came into the picture, made out of wood. And part of why this practice was so meaningful to me is because I got to build a different kind of relationship with the trees. I got to understand how they sounded when my breath was connected with them. And it also opened up the doorway of connecting with reverence of life, understanding that every time I play one of my flutes, I am honoring the life of the trees that contributed to that instrument. Going back to the runes, in modern practice, you will see that people will offer you rune sets that are carved in crystals, which is beautiful and fantastic. You will see rune sets carved in bone. You will see rune sets carved in all manner of modern day material sources. But when you go back to the lore and when you go back to the place where these stories begin, trees are the only option for where the runes could come from. It is at the base of Yggdrasil, the world tree in Norse mythology, that the Nornir, the three Norns of fate, weave and govern by carving at the roots of Yggdrasil the Elder Futhark runes, which are a set of runes given to Odin after his 9-day, 9-night initiation for Midgard, for Earth, for physical conscious reality, for humans. There are other sets of runes that are for other realms. And so the connection with the tree, the connection with the carving, the connection with the fiber of the wood has everything to do with the runes. So in my journey, I started with runes. I brought them out into nature even when I was living in Southern California, which seemed like a cognitive disconnect, right? It was clearly not the place on this planet where this mythology, these stories, these gods originated from. And yet because our world is included, I knew somehow it was connected. Time went on, the flutes came in, I had myself out in the Pacific Northwest playing amongst forested woodlands, very different to what we have here in the mountains of New Mexico. And as I played in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, as I connected deeper with the trees, I began to understand something very important. I was at a precipice in my life and in my journey when it came to being a steward for these beings, being a voice of nature and helping people connect with the beauty of why you would want to connect with these beings. I had a choice about pursuing the path of actually making flutes. And this is a choice that really caused a lot of soul searching. Because if these are my friends, if these living beings I cherish so much, in order for me to make a flute with them, they have to die. And you can begin to see how that creates a little bit of unrest. And so when I went deep into this and I really thought about what this meant, I understood that it's something about honoring the spirit of place, honoring the spirit of where things come from and where they go. I am uniquely positioned to do this because of how I was born into this world, because of who I am as a person. There is not another single person on this planet that is exactly the signature and frequency of me. And the same is true for you. So when I finally went through all of that soul searching, and when I finally came to the understanding that this was a journey for me, that while it would be painful and it would put me face to face with an industry that I didn't care so much for, I was here for a purpose. And I was embarking on this journey courageously. I was facing the things that I was afraid of. And when I didn't think I would be able to afford the woodworking class in order to get a baseline to know how to work with wood, a scholarship for the tuition was provided. And so I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Everything is lining up. Something that felt like it was out of my grasp. Now I'm one step closer, and this is just going to be the best. But what I have to share with you is that over the course of that 3-month intensive training, I wanted to quit so many times for various reasons. But I walked into that small cohort with those 2 instructors, and what I soon began to realize is that I was the only one in this furniture making class who had connection with trees in this very real, palpable way. So the purpose of me being there was, 1, to face my fears. 2, it was to build deeper relationship with these beings in a different capacity. It was to gain front row access to industries and to see how they're working and ways that these things can be improved. It also led me to a realization that when you work with trees, it is a very labor-intensive practice. Even with automated machines, it is very demanding on the physical human body. So this alone showed me a level of respect and reverence required to continue working with the bones, if you want to think of it that way, of these beautiful beings. As that training came to an end, I had my hopes set on doing an internship with my instrument maker, because I was very interested in connecting with the lineage, very specifically, connecting with the medicine and magic of those flutes, learning from that teacher. And through circumstances that are not fault-based in any capacity, I received what for me felt like heartbreaking news, that that would not be a possibility. And so as I spent some time reeling and really redefining what all of this meant for me, I continued to deepen my practice with the runes, to continue my shamanic practices of building relationship with the land. I continued to navigate through the everyday human challenges that we all experience, And I continue to ask myself the question, what am I supposed to be doing? I thought this is what I was going to do. I thought this was the path. And now I'm being given a roadblock that feels like this is a stop. But maybe there's another way. The crafty mind comes in. And maybe there's a way that I could do this, or maybe a few years down the road, or what is this going to look like? But that's the energy of pushing. And as soon as I realized that was the energy behind this, I paused. And I came back to what is truly important about this whole process. In that pause, I reached a point in the deepening of my initiation with the runes. And when I went on my journey with Yera, I was sad to receive the information that at this season of my life, continuing on the path of any type of woodworking is not fruitful. And so a whole bunch of the different identity pieces that were built up around that, a whole bunch of the emotions that were tied into that took a hit, right? That's the human side of this kind of spiritual work. We're building up this form and this structure, and we're moving through things, and we're doing the work, and then something happens. And the truth is, the reason it was so painful is because I already knew. And the part of me that kept trying to find a way to link it, that's the part that had to go. The fruitful journey, the fruitful path to continue for me is the shamanic work, is working with the runes, is working with Satyr, is working with connection to the land, teaching, speaking, orating, holding ceremony, and talking about ritual and reverence in a way that is tangible for people, that is grounded, practical, applicable, and highly transformational for the life they are living. This requires a type of leadership. This requires a type of self-activation and self-initiation. And this is what I help one-to-one clients with. While I have limited capacity for this, if this is something that you are interested in going deeper into, reach out and let me know. If you are looking for something that is more self-paced to help you learn how to move through moments of fear and uncertainty courageously and boldly, honestly, with what that feels like, the Fire Within is a great experience to reawaken matriarchal leadership. And matriarchal leadership is not just for women. It is a different type of leadership that leans into ecosystem rather than extraction. It is a type of leadership that understands the value that each and every one of us bring to the table, and understanding what it's like to hold space for that even in the face of disagreement. So if you're looking to up your leadership skills, I highly recommend the Fire Within. And I'll conclude this video today by saying that the next part of my journey will be conducting a type of ritual for me to really honor and put to rest the end of the woodworking journey, so that energy is cleared up and it is in alignment for the things that are coming forward. These things are incredibly helpful to see, they're incredibly helpful to know. And we go into things like this inside of Frequency, which is my ceremony membership. We have sound ceremonies, we have master classes that go much deeper into relationship with the land, and we have monthly circle gatherings where we talk about what's coming up for you so that you can have support moving through these things in your life. So until next time, take a few minutes and breathe. Connect in with your body. And choose to be honest with yourself about the path your life is taking you on. The path that you are creating because you are choosing to consciously walk your own path rather than simply following what has been laid out before you. I'll see you again next time.